Let's talk about the worst job that I've ever had and the worst job that I've ever been ashamed of. And I've had quite a few different jobs, especially after college, but man, this job kicked my ass. And when I moved to Florida and then ended up moving back, I needed a job and I needed a job quick. And if you guys don't know, UPS, they hire fast. And I mean, I don't even think they do background checks, to be honest. But working in the warehouse, and I was a loader. There's unloaders and there's loaders. I think both suck in general, but man, loading is a different beast because at least when you're unloading, you're putting it, you're taking things off and putting it on a belt for the, for the machines to, run smoothly, even though those machines don't run smoothly all the time. But I was an actual loader, and there's some days where you're loading the truck by yourself. You're supposed to be paired up, especially when the trucks are, very heavy and there's a lot of volume coming through. But there were days where I was by myself, and you can't just, throw the packages down. It's a lot of packages coming down all at once, and you got to create a wall, and you got to make sure those walls are sturdy, or else, you could get hurt pretty badly, if those walls, come crashing down on you. And the summer is the worst time because it's hot as hell. And if you ever worked in that warehouse before in the summer, it's brutal. I mean, you can damn near barely breathe. And sometimes they would offer you water, but there were plenty of times where they were like, hey, bring your own water. They didn't have any water available. And then sometimes they would offer these, ice pops. But there were days where I just wanted to walk out and quit because, first of all, I set a higher standard for myself. And second of all, like, I'm not going to keep doing all this wear and tear to my body, and I'm barely getting paid as is. In the warehouse, I don't know, I'm sure it varies from state to state, but they start you out at 21 an hour. But back in 2023, they started you off at like 17 an hour, I believe. I really can't remember. So obviously that's nothing in today's economy. Even 2021 is nothing. But that's when like there was a strike, so they were forced to raise the hourly pay. But even then, it still didn't matter because you don't get enough hours. And when you're in the warehouse, it's part-time. So, on the heavier days, like the heavier volume days, you'll have more hours, like maybe 5, 6, 7 hours, depending on, the shifts that you work. But the days where the volume was lighter, sometimes you'll be in there an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it's like, who the hell wants to come into work for a couple hours? You know what I'm saying? It's one thing if you come into work for a couple hours and you're still getting paid for the rest of the day, but clock in for an hour and a half to 2 hours, like, what is the point of that? You know what I'm saying? So then I started looking into UPS drivers. So I tried to get into that as quickly as possible, but that process is a whole different type of messed up. I'll have to explain that in a different video, but by far my worst job is being a loader for UPS. It's criminal how UPS treats you. It's criminal how they don't have enough hours for you, to help you out. It's it's brutal. And if you do want to become a UPS driver, just know that you're going to be in the warehouse. And there might be years where you go back and forth throughout the warehouse trying to become a full-time driver. And that's the reason why I left. I did 2 peak seasons of being a UPS driver. I was a regular temp, and you know, once you become a regular temp and you've built your seniority, which they're very big on, you're supposed to slide in whenever positions become available, depending on where you are on the seniority list. But yeah, you can just tell that they try to hold off when it comes to hiring people. But I know that I put in the hours, I know that I put in the time and the effort to become a full-time driver, and it didn't go my way. So once they tried to throw me back in the warehouse after my second peak season, I peaced out. I told them I'm good. I'm not going back in the warehouse. I have too much respect for myself to do that. And yeah, it's time to move on. It's time to close this door and see what other opportunities are out there. And I quit January of last year, so January of 2025. So yeah, by far worst job of all time, and I don't recommend. If you've had a bad job, let me know in the comments. Take control or be controlled.